understand is that any issue, any major issue has to always go back to the families. There are some issues that are small and can be dealt with on a small level. So in each family that you go yonder, they can handle this. And that they can handle this and deal with the families. And that individuals, if it's necessary, then they include the clan. And that if the clan is too big for them, then they notify the other, like for the Kanyagahaga, we've got 3 bears, 3 wolves, and 3 turtles. Well, then if it's a wolf clan issue, then all the 3 wolves will come together. And if it's bigger, then they'll include the other 6 families. And as is necessary only, that they go higher. If it can be dealt at a lower level and not to burden the rest of the people with something, it will be handled. And so when major issues come, and that's why runner is sent out. The doctor will send out the runner. When a major issue is brought to him, he'll send out the runner. And that runner, it was supposed, usually it's more than one runner, the runners will be sent out. And they will go to notify every one of the families that there is a grand council to be called. And this is what is the agenda. These are what the issues are. So ahead of time, the families can discuss all of these things. And then the Dianeso are sitting in their families because that's who they represent. They have to be sitting there. Your Dianeso has to be sitting there. But it's the families, the people, the women and the men together will discuss all of these issues. Then the representatives know what is the mind of their people. Then when they go to the Grand Council, when the date is set, they will go. They know ahead of time what their people want. Like today, what happens is the word by telephone goes out and they notify the guys. They all show up over there, but nobody discusses it with the people in the communities. Months after, we're told there was a Grand Council. When? There was a time, even in our lifetime, we were notified. Now we never know whether there's a Grand Council. They pick and choose who would attend. That is not Regino Shuni. That is not our way. We're supposed to know this. It's about our well-being, about our welfare, about our survival as a people and everything else. If we're not included, then nothing that has been done has been legitimate. It's all illegal what's going on. They take more interest in appeasing their white masters than they are the people. And this is, we talk about what is the rights of the people. But I tell you, the people, do not need anyone's permission to assert your right. You are a free person. You know who your family is. You know who your clan is. You know who your relatives are. You've got concerns. Go to your relatives. Talk to them. Yesterday, one of the ways you said was, if you have to, if your Yagoyaner is not cooperating with your family, then you, as a mother, you have that right to look out for your children, your grandchildren, your family. You put on a meal. You invite your family. Call them over. Discuss it. You don't have to counsel. You just need to discuss it and find out from your relatives. What is it we can do? What is it we want to do? But you do it. Start strengthening your family. Come to one mind with your family. Then start talking to the other families. It's a long process, but it's a good process. It will take time. Nothing good is going to happen overnight. You got to look at what's happened to our people. 200 years. They've infiltrated our system and screwed us all up and everything. And even in our own lifetime, we've seen so many things change and happen. We've seen the day when in Onondaga, they didn't sit as a council the way they do. They had a desk in their corner, a flag in the corner. They had a man sitting behind the desk. And if you had anything to ask, you had to raise your hand. They ran what they call Robert's Rule of Law.
Yeah.
That's what, they were not using Onondaga. They were not using the clan system. They were not using any of this. Until the Onondaga started coming and started raising hell in the 60s. Is when the Onondagas were pushed, embarrassed into sitting according to the way the Genesis are supposed to sit. And but it wasn't only at Onondaga. That same practice was happening in different parts of the Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
And but it seemed like that practice was all being carried out on the south side of the imaginary line.
Yes.
Up in Canada, the Longhouse people did sit in accordance with the way they were supposed to sit, but not here on the American side. And so a lot of pressure was put on the Dianetso on the American side to sit properly. And we remember when our clans would meet. We remember how, because we were involved, not just remember seeing it, but we were involved in our clans sitting together. We were involved in sending our representatives with our ways, our wishes. And but for some reason, some things have started to change. And where it started to change is when we as people stop taking responsibility and leaving it to others to handle our affairs. Because one of the things is, I don't want to bash Gianetto, because one of the things I've said to people is that we as people, as families, we became lazy. We delegated men to sit and represent us. We delegated women to sit and represent us. And then we put it all on their shoulders and we walked out, leaving it all up to them. And when they called upon us, we were too busy doing other things, and we did not fulfill our duties and responsibilities. So they were faced with having to carry the burden for us all. And then after a while, they got so used to it, and especially when the white man was coming there and saying, "Chief, you're an asset to your people." Yeah. And so their heads got swollen. They got to a point where, well, they've appointed us, so therefore we will make the decision. Then when they made a bad decision, then we wanted to straighten them up. All of a sudden we dragged every dirty skeleton out of their closet and threw this at them and threw that at them and everything else. As long as it didn't affect us personally, we didn't care. But when all of a sudden we started, oh, they're making a deal, oh, they're selling salt, and then rumors and gossip went rampant, and there's been nothing but turmoil ever since. And now we as a people were sitting there, we say, well, how do we straighten things out? How do we get things back under control? And that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
That is why we're here today. It's because the blame is not on one side or the other. It's on all sides.
I have a suggestion.
The old one will speak now.